Getting lost in a deep and engaging story is one of the best things about adventure-style video games, no matter where you end up, which is why we've decided to come up with a list of the best adventure games that you need to be playing right now. The Walking Dead Season 1. The Walking Dead's first installment was Telltale Games' biggest hit to date, bringing in a ton of fans who were eager to see just how the narrative would play out for Clementine. Tales from the Borderlands and The Wolf Among Us are extremely competitive during the same time frame, but nevertheless, The Walking Dead shined brightly. Good-hearted lawbreaker Lee and recently orphaned Clementine establish a fiercely loyal bond as they journey through the continuous tragedies that come with living in a zombie apocalypse. The game is all about survival and making the right choices with people you meet along the way. With so many different characters popping up with each new season, there are certainly some difficult choices forced onto players. Telltale does a masterful job at convincing the players that they are in charge of the story, despite the whole thing being somewhat of a smoke and mirrors act. Scenes play out differently, certain characters can survive longer than others, and Lee can behave outlandishly at times, so the game's totally unpredictable, which is why it's so fun. Without question, it's one of the best adventure games that you need to be playing right now. Next up is A Way Out. Designed with split-screen capabilities and co-op gameplay in mind without taking away from the competitive online play, A Way Out is undoubtedly one of the best adventure games in 2021. The game follows the story of Leo and Vincent, two convicts who need to break out of prison. A Way Out is a third-person action-adventure that's primarily focused around learning how to properly cooperate and work with the player next to you, especially since the game follows both characters' stories simultaneously, so you're going to need to progress them equally in order to advance the game. One exceptional feature from A Way Out is that you have the ability to join a friend online, regardless of whether or not you actually own the game, entirely for free, though this will disable achievements for guests. In A Way Out, the majority of the game is focused around the story sequences, but is littered with enjoyable mini-games and intertwining cooperative gameplay with Leo and Vincent. Vincent and Leo's journey will have you and a friend performing tasks together, both mundane and dramatic. Regardless, the result is a memorable, action-packed cinematic adventure that's second to none. Also, Monkey Island 2. LeChuck's Revenge. Most people are likely more familiar with The Secret of Monkey Island, which completely changed the genre and thrusted LucasArts to the top of the adventure genre. Monkey Island 2 takes everything from the initial installment and improves upon it perfectly. The game was originally developed and published in 1991 and then remade in 2010 and made backwards compatible with Xbox One in 2017. Guybrush Threepwood is one of the most endearing characters in any video game, known as the swashbuckling pirate whose sole purpose is to win over the heart of Governor Elaine Marley. The issue is that he's utterly dysfunctional, has far more confidence than actual ability, and has an unusual ability to ruin people's lives. On top of all this, he's also being hunted by a zombie pirate named LeChuck, whose ghost he killed in the first game. Elaine understandably wants nothing to do with him. As a result, players will find value in traveling through the rowdy dialogue that is both witty and hilarious, marking wildly memorable situations and some challenging puzzles along the way. Monkey Island 2 is the peak of the outrageous comedy adventure and without question one of the best adventure games in 2021. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is an action-adventure game that was developed and published by Ninja Theory, set in the dark fantasy world inspired by Norse mythology and Celtic culture. It follows Senua, a picked warrior who must make her way to Helheim by defeating otherworldly entities and facing challenges that will allow her to rescue the soul of her dead lover from the goddess Hela. The epic tale also takes players on a journey that portrays the brutality of psychosis. Senua, who suffers from the condition but believes it to be a curse, is haunted by an entity known as the Darkness and voices in her head known as Furies. The game's story is a metaphor for the condition and sees Senua descend into Helheim by destroying these demonic creatures. It's a beautiful mixture of psychological horror with hack-and-slash gameplay, as well as some puzzle solving and adventurism sprinkled in to create an overall riveting experience. And then there's Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Similar to From Software's Dark Souls titles, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice is primarily focused on massive boss battles and difficult-to-master combat skills. In the game, you will play play as the one-armed wolf, a disgraced and disfigured warrior who is rescued from the brink of death. Bound to protect a young lord who is the descendant of an ancient bloodline, you become the victim of many vicious enemy attacks, including from the dangerous Ashina clan, in which your lord gets captured. In pursuit of revenge against a samurai clan who kidnapped his lord, your shinobi or ninja will unleash an arsenal of deadly prosthetic tools and powerful abilities on their epic journey. You will get to explore the late 1500s Sengoku Japan as you attempt to rescue your lord and regain your honor. As soon as the game dropped in 2019, it was an instant hit both critically and commercially, masterfully blending together combat, stealth, and exploration in an alternate version of Japan. A critically acclaimed and accomplished title that remains relevant in 2021. A Plague Tale: Innocence. A Plague Tale: Innocence will take you on a trip into the past and experience the horrors of the 100 Years' War as well as the brutal English invasion of France. In the game, you will play as Amicia de Rune, a young noble girl who's desperately trying to save her sick younger brother Hugo from a blight plague, all while trying to steer clear of the French Inquisition soldiers who are seeking out Hugo and the swarms of plague-ridden rodents roaming the streets. The journey is filled with tons of stealth action, and being caught by your enemies means almost certain death. Throughout the course of the game, you will have to get creative with distracting enemy soldiers using various objects, including your trusty sling, as well as ward off rat swarms and solve intricate puzzles. If you enjoy story-driven stealth gameplay, then look no further. Next up is The Outer Wilds. Another tremendously rewarding adventure experience comes from The Outer Wilds, which follows an unnamed astronaut caught in a 22-minute time loop. Think Interstellar, Groundhog Day. The time loop resets by one of the stars going supernova and disintegrating everything. Your job will be to help this unfortunate soul uncover the secrets of an extinct alien race called the Nomai, who visited the solar system before and left clues that can help you fix this warped time zone. Similar to other games with this particular mechanic, once you've learned information or completed an activity, it will carry over to the next time loop. The Outer Wilds was developed by Mobius Digital and published by Annapurna Interactive in 2019, but remains one of the best action-adventure games in 2021. In fact, the game has even received critical acclaim and won numerous awards, including the Game of the Year at the British Academy Games Awards. Also, Star Wars Jedi: Fallen Order, released back in 2019. Star Wars Jedi: Fallen Order remains one of the top third-person action-adventure games on the market. In the popular gaming series, you will take over as Jedi Padawan Cal Kestis as he attempts to outrun two Inquisitors of the Galactic Empire. Luckily, you'll be armed with his handy lightsaber and the power of the Force as you help Cal on his mission to complete his Jedi training and rebuild the fallen Jedi Order. The story is set in the Star Wars universe 5 years after Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith and has received extremely favorable reviews from critics and fans alike. As of June 2021, EA announced that more than 20 million people had played the game, a more than worthy addition to the list. And finally, Immortals Fenyx Rising. Immortals Fenyx Rising is undeniably one of the best adventure games in 2021, taking players on a journey of mythic proportions as Phoenix, a young Greek shield-bearer who must defeat the forces of evil. Immortals Fenyx Rising is an action-adventure video game that was published by Ubisoft and released to the public at the end of 2020. The story, narrated by the gods Prometheus and Zeus, follows Phoenix, who not only must save her brother but also stop the serpentine giant Typhon from overthrowing the Olympian gods. The immersive gameplay graces you with a deadly arsenal of weapons and abilities, with many describing it as an over-the-top version of the Assassin's Creed series, but with more fantastical creatures like minotaurs, gorgons, hydra, etc. It makes sense since Jeffrey Yohalam, who wrote for previous Ubisoft titles such as Assassin's Creed 2 amongst others, served as narrative director and lead writer for the game. With astounding review scores from major publications like GameSpot, IGN, Metacritic, and PC Gamer, there's no denying the value that comes with owning Immortals Fenyx Rising. With that, we wrap up the video. Thanks for watching.